water of Lake Superior shimmered under the golden afternoon sun, its vast surface so bright it almost hurt to look at. Tourists called it breathtaking. Locals called it dangerous. But for 5 college friends, it was just the perfect summer escape. Their small rental boat rocked gently as laughter carried across the open water. Emily leaned back against the edge, sunglasses reflecting the cloudless sky. Jake, the self-proclaimed captain, gripped the wheel with too much confidence. In the back, Mia scrolled through her phone, while Aaron and Lucas argued over who packed the worst snacks. It felt normal, safe, the kind of day people photograph, frame, and post with cheerful hashtags, lake life or Minnesota summer. The sun was warm, the air smelled of fresh pine drifting from the shoreline, and the world felt alive with light. But Lake Superior was old, older than their laughter, older than the city on its shores. Locals whispered about how the lake didn't just take lives when storms rolled in, and sometimes it kept them. Jake revved the small engine and pushed them farther out. The shore became smaller, the chatter of tourists disappeared. Out here, only endless blue water surrounded them. The 5 friends soaked in the beauty, not realizing they were being watched. Emily dangled her hand lazily over the side, fingers skimming the surface. "It's freezing," she laughed. But then she froze. Her hand stilled in the water. "What?" Jake asked. Emily tilted her head, squinting. "I thought I saw something, like a face." Laughter erupted from the others. "Yeah, your reflection," Lucas teased. But Emily's brow furrowed. She leaned farther over the side. "No, I swear it was smiling at me." Mia groaned. "You've been watching too many horror TikToks." The group brushed it off. The boat continued forward. Yet Emily's unease lingered. Her eyes kept flicking back to the water. Minutes later, Aaron leaned over to toss his soda can into the cooler. He froze mid-motion. "What the hell?" he whispered. "What now?" Jake muttered. Aaron pointed. Just below the rippling surface, clear as glass, a face stared upward. Its eyes were open wide, unblinking. Its lips curved into a frozen smile. "Holy shit!" Lucas hissed, stumbling back. Is that a body?" The friends crowded the side, hearts pounding. The face didn't drift away. It didn't bob up like a normal corpse. It just stared, perfectly still. Then came another, and another. Dozens of faces smiling faintly from beneath the waves, like an audience waiting for the show to begin. Mia's phone slipped from her hands into the boat floor. "That's not possible. They're not real. They're not real." Jake gunned the engine, panic flashing across his face. The boat roared forward, cutting through the water. For a moment, the friends thought they were safe, that they could leave the nightmare behind. But the faces followed, no matter how far or fast they went. The pale smiles stayed just beneath the surface, directly below their boat, as though the water itself carried them. Emily gripped Jake's arm. "Don't stop. Don't you dare stop." Then the engine sputtered, coughed, died. The boat slowed to a halt. In the middle of the endless, glittering expanse, silence. The water was calm, too calm. The friends stood frozen, the sunlight suddenly harsh, blinding. Beneath them, the smiling faces gathered closer, clearer, their eyes wide and hungry. And then, one of the smiles moved. A pale hand broke the surface. At first, they thought it was sunlight. The way the sun hit the waves of Lake Superior made strange patterns, shimmering streaks that danced across the surface. Emily squinted, lifting her sunglasses, convinced her eyes were playing tricks. But when Aaron leaned over the side, he stopped breathing. "Guys, look." There, beneath the glassy surface, a face looked back. Not a reflection, not a trick of the light. A human face, pale, distorted by the water, but too clear to ignore. Its eyes were wide open, and worse, its lips were curled upward in an unnatural smile. Lucas barked out a laugh. "Okay, very funny. Did one of you put a mannequin in the water or something?" No one answered, because the smile didn't drift away. It didn't sink. It just stayed staring straight up at them. Emily covered her mouth. "It's not moving." Jake, gripping the boat's wheel tighter than before, muttered, "Maybe it's a body." Drowned. The idea hung in the air like poison. But then Aaron whispered the words that made every hair on their arms rise. "There's more." They all looked, and their stomachs dropped. Another face appeared, then another, just beneath the waves, as though the water itself was holding them. Men, women, even children, all staring upward, all wearing the same hollow, stretched smile. Mia stumbled back, her phone slipping from her hands onto the floor of the boat. "No, no, no, no! This is wrong. This isn't real. It can't be real." But the faces were real. Too detailed, too alive. Emily's breath hitched as one of the faces blinked. Slowly, purposefully. The boat rocked slightly as though something large brushed against its underside. Jake cursed under his breath and tried to restart the engine. The motor coughed, sputtered, and growled, but wouldn't catch. Below them, the faces drifted closer, circling the boat, like predators sizing up their prey. The water was so calm, so deceptively beautiful, that the horror of those smiles burned even brighter in the midday sun. Lucas shouted, "Why are they smiling?" His voice cracked with fear. No one had an answer. Emily's trembling hand pointed over the edge. "Because they want us." And then, all at once, the faces opened their mouths, wide, impossibly wide, as though screaming beneath the water. But above the surface, the only sound was silence. Jake leaned over the side of the boat, squinting hard against the glare. Lake Superior sparkled like a sheet of broken glass, every ripple catching the sun. It had to be light, a reflection, an illusion. That's what he told himself. That's what he wanted to believe. "Relax," Jake muttered, forcing a laugh that sounded thinner than he expected. "It's just sunlight on the water. You know how it bends, plays tricks on your eyes." But no one laughed with him. Emily gripped the edge of the boat so tightly her knuckles turned white. Her sunglasses slid down her nose as she stared into the blue depths. "Sunlight doesn't hold still like that," she whispered. "It moves. It shifts. This isn't moving." Lucas shoved his way beside her and leaned down. "I don't care what it looks like. It's nothing. A rock, maybe." He stopped cold. His jaw tightened. He saw it too. The face, perfectly still, perfectly clear, eyes wide, fixed directly on him, as if the water itself was a pane of glass. The grin, stretched too far across its pale features, didn't flicker, didn't break. Aaron's voice trembled. "You don't get it, man." "I've been staring at the same spot for 2 minutes, and it hasn't changed. Not one ripple, not one blink. Not even the water distorts it." Mia backed up until her shoulders hit the seat. "You guys are scaring me. Stop, just stop." But the truth pressed in on all of them. Sunlight didn't behave like this. Reflections didn't watch you. Emily leaned closer, her breath fogging the surface as she whispered to herself, "It wants me to see it. That's why it's so clear. It wants us to know it's there." The air grew heavier. The sunlight suddenly felt cruel, a spotlight on their tiny boat, exposing them to something that should have remained hidden. Then without warning, the face shifted, not drifting away, not breaking apart into ripples, but sliding, smooth as oil, directly beneath the hull. The friends scrambled to the opposite side, panic breaking into shouts. Beneath their boat, the face glided effortlessly, smile unbroken, eyes never leaving them. Lucas's voice cracked. "That's not sunlight. That's not a reflection. That's real." And as the words left his mouth, another face surfaced beside the first. Then another, and another, a crowd of smiles forming a circle around the boat. No matter how the sunlight danced on the water, these faces stayed. Crystal clear, terrifyingly patient. Jake's hands shook on the wheel. We shouldn't be out here." But it was already too late. The water had chosen them. The water should have been beautiful, clear, blue, shining like a postcard. But when the faces gathered, circling the boat, beauty turned to horror. Aaron's voice cracked as he pointed to the nearest one. "Wait, I know him." The others whipped their heads toward him. "What are you talking about?" Aaron swallowed hard. His hands trembled as he reached for his phone. With a few shaky taps, he pulled up an old news article, a tragedy he'd read about years ago. He turned the screen toward them. The headline made me a stomach drop. "Tourist drowns in Lake Superior, body never recovered." The photo was unmistakable. The same young man, the same sharp jawline, the same curly hair, and the same smile, now frozen beneath the waves. Emily's breath caught in her throat. "That's impossible." But Aaron wasn't finished. His thumb scrolled through more articles. A couple missing in '97, a child swept off the shore in 2003, a fisherman lost last summer. One by one, he held the photos up. One by one, the faces in the water matched perfectly. Jake's stomach lurched. No way. No way these are the same people. But his voice betrayed him, weak, hollow, breaking under the truth. The drowned had never left. Emily whispered, "They're still here, trapped, waiting." Her eyes glistened, terror and pity blending in her voice. Lucas shook his head violently. "No, you're saying what? Their souls are stuck in the lake?" Don't say that." But the evidence floated all around them. Dozens of victims locked in eternal smiles, their lifeless eyes wide open as though begging someone to notice. The boat rocked slightly, a ripple passing underneath. And then one of the faces moved closer, not drifting, not pushed by current, it swam. The friends staggered back, their fear bursting into raw panic. Aaron's voice rose into a scream. "They know us now. They see us!" The sunlight didn't make the lake feel safe anymore. Instead, it lit every pale face with cruel clarity, as if the afternoon itself wanted the friends to understand. This wasn't a random haunting. This was a collection, a gallery of the drowned, and now 5 new portraits had arrived. The lake had gone silent. Not the gentle slap of waves, not the whisper of wind, not even the gulls above, just silence. The friends stood frozen, staring at the crowd of faces beneath their boat, smiling, watching, waiting. Then, without warning, a pale hand broke the surface. Fingers long, waterlogged, nails cracked and gray. It clamped around the boat's edge with unnatural strength. Emily screamed, stumbling backward. The others rushed to her side, then froze again. Another hand emerged, then another. All around the boat, pale arms reached upward, gripping the edges. The drowned were climbing. The first face rose out of the water. Its eyes were wide, unblinking, its smile stretched too far. Water poured from its mouth, but no breath came. Only silence. Jake swung an oar wildly, slamming it against the hand. The drowned figure slipped beneath the surface. Relief surged for half a second, until 3 more appeared, pulling themselves higher. "They're getting in," Lucas shouted, voice breaking. Suddenly, one arm shot forward and grabbed his wrist. The grip was ice cold, like iron shackles. Lucas shrieked, thrashing, trying to break free. The drowned pulled harder, dragging his arm toward the water. Aaron lunged to help, but another hand snapped around his ankle, yanking him off balance. He hit the deck with a sickening thud. "Don't let them pull you in!" Jake roared, slamming the engine's starter again and again. It sputtered, coughed, but refused to roar to life. Emily dropped to her knees beside Lucas, clawing at the pale hand clutching him. Her nails tore against its waterlogged skin. A chunk ripped free like soggy paper, but the grip didn't loosen. Then came the sound. Not voices, not words, just a chorus of bubbling laughter, muffled by water, echoing all around them. Mia's scream cut through it. 2 drowned had hauled themselves half over the boat's edge, their faces inches from hers, smiles split wider than human jaws should stretch, water streaming down their cheeks like tears. "Get them off," she sobbed, swinging a cooler at their heads. The plastic cracked, useless. Lucas's scream gurgled, cut short as his body was wrenched overboard. His friends lunged, too late. He vanished into the lake, swallowed whole, his scream muffled into silence. "Lucas!" Aaron howled, only for his own body to jerk violently. Hands dragged him across the deck. He clawed at the wood, leaving streaks of blood from his nails. "Don't let go! Don't let—" Splash. Silence. Gone. The boat rocked violently now, surrounded by the drowned, their grins endless, their eyes locked on the survivors. Emily sobbed uncontrollably, gripping Mia's arm. "We have to fight! We have to fight!" But Mia's words never came. A drowned figure surged upward behind her, wrapping arms around her waist, dragging her backward. Her nails scraped against the deck as Emily shrieked her name. Then, splash. Silence. Now there were two. Jake's frantic hands finally caught the engine. It roared to life, coughing smoke. He spun the wheel, shouting, "Hold on! We can still make it." But Emily's sob cut him off. She was staring downward, tears streaking her face. Hands, dozens of them, rising, wrapping around her ankles. "No, no, no, no!" She screamed as she was yanked downward, her nails ripping grooves in the boat's wood. Jake lunged, but only caught her fingers for a second, before she slipped beneath the surface. Her scream cut short. The water swallowed her. Silence. Jake sat trembling alone, the engine rumbling beneath him. He looked down at the water. Dozens of faces stared back, and now his friends were among them, smiling, wide, eternal. The boat rocked. Another hand reached up. Jake didn't even scream. The lake claimed him, and the water went calm again.